Rick and Kathy, thank you so much for joining me this evening following us having a chat over the federal budget for this evening for 2023. And both as business owners yourselves, I'm keen to hear your perspectives. So Kathy, we might start with you. Perhaps you might give us a couple of lines about your business and the industry that you're in, and then in particular what the key takeaways were for you tonight.
Corporate Keys is in the accommodation sector, so we have both extended stay accommodation for project teams and business executives, and we run hotels, the Manhattan Apartments and Hamptons Apartments, which are more for short stay. Again, we really cater to the business market. There wasn't a lot in the budget, actually, I didn't feel, for small business. There was a couple of things they floated past very, very quickly, which I'd be interested in delving into a bit more, was what the digital and technology assistance. I'm not too sure where that lies, whether it's for cyber and privacy reasons or whether it's for updating old technology. Interested in having a look at where that goes. They mentioned a bit about the TAFE and cheap placements, free TAFE placements. Interested to find out whether or not that applies to the tourism and hospitality sector. Previously it hasn't been one of the critical sectors listed for that, but that would be a great advantage in the basis that we're very, very short in the hospitality sector of skilled workers. It's a terrible problem. We need people to be encouraged to look at the hospitality sector in terms of a long-term career choice, and having some free placements may assist with that as well. Yeah. Other than that, there really wasn't a lot for the sector that I could see that was available.
Rick, a bit about your business and also your takeaways for tonight.
So I'm Rick Campbell, Chairman of the AT Group. So we're a technology-based business consultancy with offices here in Melbourne and Sydney, but as well as London, New York and Chicago. And we service clients essentially on every continent and in most countries. So it's always interesting to get the take of the Australian budget and what that means in terms of our business internationally. Inflationary pressures definitely play a part in the business realm in which we operate, as do supply chain issues. And unfortunately, I think by and large, supply chain is something that falls outside of the purview of the government, because so much of what we provide is shipped in from other countries. It will be interesting to see in terms of what the 14.3 billion, I think it is, that the government's allocated to cost of living relief, how that will play out in terms of possibly having a negative effect again on inflation. And that, I guess, is again, Jen, what we'll see moving forward is there's a lot of positivity in how it's presented by the Treasurer, but what that means in real time, real life for small and medium-sized businesses, that's always a challenge. And I can't remember in my time an environment where there were so many different levers relative to impacts on our budget, both here nationally within Australia and internationally. So being able to, I guess, proffer what's going to happen in 10 years, I think you'd be struggling to find out what's going to happen in 10 months. So we'll see how it plays out.
And look, I'll stick with you, Rick, on the follow-up question, which is, you know, you're obviously not sitting around waiting for the federal budget to be announced on an annual basis to decide what's going on. It's a certainly important component, but what's your sort of view on business conditions at the moment and what the sentiment is among businesses?
I think certainly within Victoria, we would probably have by and large a more negative outlook, because we see, and you only have to spend time in the CBD to see this in terms of both within hospitality, the lack of people attending restaurants, cafes, return to office is still a fairly significant WFH, I guess, atmosphere in Victoria, people working from home, but a lot of businesses are still trying to find their way back on their feet post-COVID. So now that we're seeing all these other pressures come to bear, I guess I educate my leaders and my senior management team to be really forward thinking, to try and be as independent as possible, to lean into utilising the specialist skills of their accountants, their business advisors, their bank managers, etc. And to have a really good understanding as to where their business is in terms of its current fiscal position and plan for the future. And invest in your assets, whether that be your staff, your product, your services, and find a point of differentiation that will enable you to survive and thrive where others may not.
Yeah, good advice there. Kathy, how about you? Perhaps might be a different consideration given your industry.
The staffing is the major factor, but one of the things that we have found is that the market that we knew is different. It's been very, very busy in the Melbourne CBD. Very, very good for the accommodation sector, but the regions are dead, right even through the Easter school holidays. That's something we've never seen before. So what we've discovered in the trend for the previous years, even pre-COVID years, is not the post-COVID trends in terms of accommodation. So, where things are going is not something you can really judge at the moment, because we've not actually seen a market reacting the way that it is now. So it's going to be some very interesting times. I mean, I'm the eternal optimist. I wouldn't own a business if I wasn't. Yes. But I can see that you're really going to have to stay on top of it. You're going to have to watch. You're going to have to be ready. And I do hate this word, pivot, very, very quickly on any changes that happen in the marketplace. And the diversification is so important. You can't just focus on one market. You've got to spread yourself across different markets to just have that ability to bounce back when we get hit with another change, and we will.
Look, thank you both so much. We get so much from these conversations, and really taking what we're hearing from the Federal Treasurer tonight, but running it into practical scenarios like you in your businesses and what you're facing every day. That's where the real connection matters. So thanks for talking to us and sharing with our customers and broader networks your insights from tonight.
Thank you, Jen.